Plastic waste is a growing problem around the world. But did you know that not all plastic alternatives are created equal? Today, we're diving into the difference between compostable and recyclable materials and which one is better for our planet. If you're curious about the environmental impact of everyday items and want to make informed choices, stick around for the scoop on these earth-friendly options. Compostable materials are designed to break down into natural elements in a compost environment, leaving no toxic residue. Some might take months to decompose, while others break down in just a matter of weeks. To ensure your compostable items are doing their job properly, look for the certified compostable logo. This certification ensures that the product will break down in less than 180 days under the right conditions. This means that instead of hanging around in landfills for hundreds of years, these materials decompose naturally. Unlike compostable materials, recyclable items don't break down naturally. Today, it's an essential part of waste management, helping us conserve resources and reduce the amount of waste that ends up in landfills. Instead, they're reprocessed to make new products. Common recyclables include aluminum cans, glass bottles, and some types of plastic. After being collected, they're turned into everything from new cans to car parts. For instance, PET or peat polyethylene terephthalate, which is used for soda bottles, is one of the most recycled plastics worldwide. On the other hand, plastics like polystyrene, commonly found in disposable cups and food containers, are less frequently recycled due to challenges in processing and contamination concerns. Glass bottles are another recyclable superstar. When we recycle glass, we save energy and reduce the need to mine raw materials. And yes, you can recycle that plastic bottle. Both have their pros and cons, and ultimately it depends on your preferences and circumstances. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. This is great because it means that your waste won't sit around in a landfill for hundreds of years. Not all cities have industrial composting facilities or curbside pickup, and if you don't have a backyard compost bin, your options for composting may be limited. When you recycle, you're conserving natural resources, saving energy and reducing waste. By recycling aluminum cans, for example, you're helping to protect our forests and wildlife habitats. Additionally, not all plastics can be made compostable, and some compostable items might not break down as quickly as you'd like. No matter which option you choose, remember that both composting and recycling play an important role in waste reduction. If materials aren't clean or are placed in the wrong recycling bin, they can ruin an entire batch of recyclable materials. Now let's dive into some actionable tips. Whether you're leaning towards compostable or recyclable, knowing how to make the most of these options is crucial. Also, many plastics are downcycled, meaning they are turned into lower-grade materials that have a shorter lifespan and can't be recycled again. Contact your local waste management service or municipality to find out if they offer curbside composting or have designated drop-off locations. You can also consider getting a backyard compost bin or starting a compost pile. Plus, creating a compost pile or worm bin can be a fun and rewarding experience. You can literally turn your kitchen scraps into gold. Rinse out your containers to remove any food residue and make sure to separate your recyclables from your trash. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to drop them below. We'd love to hear from you. Let's build a cleaner, greener future together. Familiarize yourself with your local recycling guidelines as they may vary. You can visit your local waste management website or search online for specific instructions. If you have access to composting facilities and produce a lot of food waste, compostable might be a great choice. Start by sharing this video with your friends and family. Spread the knowledge and inspire others to join the movement towards a more sustainable future. Together, we can reduce waste, protect the environment, and create a better world for ourselves and future generations. Invest in reusable bags, water bottles, coffee cups, and food containers. These items might have an upfront cost, but they'll save you money in the long run and help reduce waste. Remember, the journey towards a more sustainable lifestyle is a marathon, not a sprint. Every effort counts, and together we can build a cleaner, greener future. If you're in an area with robust recycling programs, recycling could be the way to go. Many types of plastic can be recycled into new products. Look for the recycling symbol with a number inside the triangle. This number indicates the type of plastic and whether it's recyclable in your area. These include some bioplastics, paper packaging, and food waste. Let's start with compostable. What exactly does that mean? These materials are then sent to recycling facilities where they're sorted, processed, and turned into new items. But here's where things get interesting. Not all compostable items are the same. When you think compost, picture rich, nutrient-dense dirt teeming with helpful microorganisms. That's what we call compost. It's created when organic matter like food scraps and yard waste undergoes a controlled decomposition process. According to the Environmental Protection Agency (EPA), in 2018, only about 5% of plastic waste in the United States was actually recycled. So why does so much plastic waste end up in landfills? Well, there are a few reasons. First, not all plastics are easily recyclable, and contamination with other types of waste can make the recycling process more difficult. Additionally, many communities don't have access to adequate recycling facilities or may not have comprehensive recycling programs. Lastly, even when recycling facilities receive clean and sorted plastic waste, they still face challenges in processing certain types of plastics, especially those that are mixed or not widely accepted for recycling. In landfills, food waste can create harmful greenhouse gases, but in a compost pile, it transforms into a valuable resource for gardeners and farmers. The result is a nutrient-rich material that can improve soil quality, helping plants grow and reducing the need for chemical fertilizers. Paper packaging, including cardboard boxes and paper bags, are generally compostable. However, they often have non-compostable elements like plastic coatings or inks, making them tricky to break down. Look for packaging labeled as compostable or use common sense. If it has a plastic lining, it's probably not going to decompose well. Food waste is another compostable material. Think fruit and vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, and eggshells. Now let's turn our attention to the other contender, recyclable. Recycling isn't a new concept. In fact, humans have been recycling materials for thousands of years. When we talk about recycling, we're usually referring to curbside recycling, where we sort our waste and place it in special bins for collection. Aluminum cans are a prime example of successful recycling. Now it's important to note that not all plastic is created equal when it comes to recycling. Some types of plastic are more commonly recycled than others. But wait, not all plastic waste ends up being recycled. Despite the progress we've made, we still have a long way to go when it comes to recycling plastic waste effectively. So we've covered the basics of compostable and recyclable. But which one is truly better? It's like comparing apples and oranges. Compostable materials break down quickly in a compost environment, enrich the soil, and reduce the amount of waste ending up in landfills. However, the downside is that compostable materials require access to proper composting facilities. On the other hand, recycling has its own set of pros and cons. The main drawback of recycling is that it relies heavily on people to sort their waste correctly and to keep the materials clean and free of contamination. So how do you decide between compostable and recyclable? Ultimately, the best option depends on your local infrastructure and your lifestyle. Ideally, we should all be reducing our use of single-use items and opting for reusable alternatives whenever possible. So we've talked about the benefits and challenges of each. First and foremost, check if your area supports composting. Next, if you're more interested in recycling, always rinse and sort recyclables properly. And finally, don't forget the power of reusable items. Try to avoid single-use items whenever possible. Small changes can make a big difference. By following these tips, you'll be well on your way to reducing your environmental impact. Whether you are breaking down your waste into nutrient-rich compost or ensuring that plastic waste gets a second life, you're contributing to a healthier planet. Now it's time to take action. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more insightful content.